right, your 30s aren't the end. They're the reset button you didn't know that you needed. If you feel like you've hit rock bottom, trust me, I've been there. I had no money, no stability, and thought I wasted my 20s. But here's what I learned. Setbacks aren't the end of the road. They're the beginning of something greater. Let me show you how to rebuild your life in your 30s, step by step. Let me keep it all the way real. I hit rock bottom in my 30s, okay? I was about 29, 30. I was living in Atlanta, couldn't afford $300 worth of rent. Had a felony charge. I was stuck, okay? And had to move back to my mom's house, sleep on the couch, catching a 5 a.m. bus over to Altamont to work at Kenneth Cole. But every step I took helped me build the foundation to where I'm at now. I remember when I was in Atlanta, it was like 2015. And I just was like, I was determined. First of all, let's be clear. I had went, a lot of people know this story, but to make a long story short, I had went through a very dark time early on in Houston where I went and I did some fraud. I ain't gonna lie, I did some fraud. And I went and got a car, fake car, and I used a fraudulent ID. I was on probation for 4 years, okay, and I had the felony charge. Wasn't conviction, but it was a charge. My dad spent all this money trying to get me a lawyer. Then I got on, then I had to do community service. I had to go, I was on probation. I had to do random drug tests. It was a mess. I couldn't afford to stay in Houston. Moved to LA, tried to go to school, but was still on probation. Had to check in every month. Got in a relationship, was still on probation. Started dating someone in Vegas. Had to work my job in Vegas. One of the darkest times of my life. I was in an abusive relationship in Vegas. The guy was cheating on me. It was disgusting. Okay, beating me up and lying on me. And here I am. I'm working at Forever 21, and every time I got paid, I had to buy a flight to Houston to check in with my probation officer. It was disgusting. Like, it was one of the darkest times because I had no money. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get my own place. And when I did finally get a job, it was across country, and I literally had to take every paycheck that I got and buy a plane ticket, because every month I had to go check in with my probation officer for 4 years, till it got to the point where I was like, you know what, in 2014, I just got tired of it. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go move back to Houston and just deal with this head on. So fast forward, I moved to Houston. I had to do community service. Community service was not in my spirit. I couldn't finish the community service. They gave me a warrant for my arrest, okay? I ended up having to go to jail for 3 weeks. Then after that, I was just devastated with Houston. Me and my homegirl, we were like, we're going to pack up everything and we're just going to move to Atlanta. I had $1,000. I think she had $1,000, and we moved. We got in my car, packed it up, moved to Atlanta. Best and worst decision I've ever made. Best decision because I probably wouldn't be here now. Worst decision because I was freaking broke. Okay? I was broke. My car was breaking down. I got robbed. It was just a mess. Messed up my credit. Got a DUI that ended up dropping down to a wet and reckless. It was a mess. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that still comes to haunt me to this day, because I can't even get global entry because of the stupid. I was driving in Cobb County without a license, and then I got a wet and reckless in 2015. So they won't let me get the global entry today. Oh yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. So anyway, during that time, my rent, I had got a 2-bedroom. I finessed and got a 2-bedroom apartment. And it was like $700. Child, I couldn't keep a good enough working car, so the cars kept breaking down, so I kept getting fired. Now, before that, I was living with this random lady that I met working at a call center. She was taking all my money, and I was sleeping on the floor in her living room. And until I got tired of that, I met a scammer online. At least I feel like they were a scammer. They finessed my information to get me approved for the apartment. That didn't end up working because I got evicted from the apartment. Got evicted from the apartment. It was a mess. I didn't even have 10 cents to rub together to get me some 69-cent tacos out of Del Taco. It was disastrous. I couldn't even pay my phone bill. Thank God for Verizon at that time. I kept doing payment extension and payment extension and payment extension. It was a disaster. Disaster. Until one day my mom said, come home. I was like, I'm not coming home. I'm not coming home because I don't want you to feel like I can't make it. I don't want you to feel like I can't make it. And it was so crazy too, because my stepbrother lived there, but me and my stepmom wasn't getting along. And he, they didn't really help me. I used to sell my stuff. My jewelry to Nordstrom's. I used to go into Nordstrom's and literally sell now shout out to Cortland. some of you guys might know Corley. He kind of is not really a fan of me anymore because I used to do commentary on Doja Cat, and I'm not really a big Doja Cat fan, but he's like her lead choreographer now, like super big deal. He's out of here, talented guy. Well, I met him in Atlanta at the cash register of Nordstrom's, and he would do my returns for me. He would do all my returns for me. So small world, right? But anyway, I was in there and I would sell all my jewelry because Nordstrom's would take back your returns with no receipt. So I would just sell my stuff to get quick cash. Then of course I was dating and I was in and out of extended stay hotels. They was roach and rat infested. It was a lot going on. Then at some point I was just sleep. I literally slept in my car in the parking lot of a Walmart. It was bad. Atlanta did not show me no love until I moved home. I moved home and I moved my mom and my stepdad and, you know, my brothers and sisters. And they had a little room with a little it wasn't even like a love seat. It was like something like this, and it had like a little, you could extend out maybe a little bit, and that was my bed. So imagine this, and then something that you can kind of put your feet up on. This was the bed, and it was in the middle like about the walkway. So it was a 2-story house, but like you'd have to go walk through the room to go up the stairs and walk through the room to come down the stairs into the living room, and then walk through the room to go to the washroom or the backyard. So at all times in my room, people had to go through it throughout the day. So you never really got any sleep, but I needed to come home. I had hit rock bottom. Holes in my suitcase, more stuff on my record, phone bill out the wazoo, credit shot. It was bad. It was bad. My mom, I will never forget, she picked me up from the airport and she drove me to Kennecole at the Livermore outlets. And she said, you can get a job here. She just drove me to the outlets. She said, you can get a job here. You like retail, you'll love it. I said, okay, mommy, I'll try. I went and I applied. I got the job and I became assistant manager. I was making like $14 an hour. I was so excited. But the thing was, it was an hour away and I had no car. And if you know anything about the Bay Area, the thing is, Livermore, well, where I lived in Stockton, Manteca. So you have to go through the Altamont to get through to the Bay Area or Livermore. Well, there was no car. So then I had to get on the bus. But the bus, in order for me to get there at the time I needed to get there, the bus left at 4 a.m. And the next one didn't leave till like 8. But I needed to be at work at 8. So I used to have to take the 4 a.m. bus and then sit for an hour, 2 hours before I could go to work. So I did that every day. Because I had to realize that it was time to start taking control of my life. And I'm like, I can't sit here with my mom, my stepdad. I'm 30 years old. What am I going to do? And so every day I would do that. Then I would come home and do my show on Facebook. I would do my show during breaks. I would plan shows and I would get off and I would go in the garage and I would do my show every single day. They would make fun of me because they're like, your background is so dirty. Your background is filthy. You look broke, this, that, and the third. I would do my show every single day. I go buy me a limerene and I do my show. So one day, one of my coworkers at Kennecole, well, they said that AT&T was hiring. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to apply to AT&T. They're going to make like $20 an hour. So one of my coworkers applied. He got the job. The one that I heard, so it was 3 of us. We were all assistant managers. One of the guys applied. He got the job. He told another guy. I overheard them talking because I'm nosy, right? This guy applied. I went home and applied too. The first guy got the job. The second guy didn't get the job, Ben, and I got the job over Ben. Touche. So I got the job. Ben didn't get the job. Before you know it, I put in my 2-week notice that I was being flown out to Oregon for training. This is 2016. After that, we were off to the races. Did my taxes, got a little help with that. I got me a car with no license, saved my money for my taxes, got me a camera, and I got me a laptop. And I said, I'm gonna build my show and I'm gonna go to work. I will do my job every day. I would do my job. I would do my job. I hated the job. They used to call me knickers at work. They tried to fire me at work. People spit in my face at work. They threw their phones at me at work. Hated the job, but I had a bigger picture. I needed to get on my feet. I had a car, my camera. I was buying a little clothes here and there. Then I found a man. Then I said, I'm gonna get me an apartment. I was nervous because I had the records from Houston and Atlanta, but lucky somehow I got approved for the apartment. So now I got my man, I got an apartment, then I went and got a dog. So I'm smoking, I'm cooking. We're doing our thing. 2017. Then I'm really working. Then I started saying, well, you know what? Let me go. I'm gonna start doing auditions in LA. So every day after work, I would go, every week, I would drive down and do AfterBuzz TV or try to audition. Shout out to Jesse Janity. He the one that kind of put me on to that. They didn't hire me, but I would lie to them and tell them that, hey, I lived in LA just so I could be there. And I was so intimidated, but I was ready to quit everything and try to move down here, but it just wasn't in the cards because the AfterBuzz wasn't paying. I didn't end up getting the job, but I would make those sacrifices. My car was breaking down as I would travel through the Altamont. And I used to tell my mom, I'm like, Mom, my car is breaking down. My friends ain't answering. I can't talk to nobody. She said, son, sometimes you're going to have to go through it alone. No one is going to really understand your journey. This is your journey. Keep going. So I kept going and I kept going and I kept going. I drove that car till the wheels literally fell off. Then I got a black Acura because then I started making money. I took a year off in 2018. In 2017, no, I took a year off of my show because I got really canceled on Facebook. I took a year off in 2018, started DJing a little bit. I was making a little money here and there. It was cool. Then I finally got back into the role of things, got a new car, was doing my thing. Then I got on YouTube. The end of 2018, started 2019. I was starting to make more money on YouTube than I was making at my job. Within being on YouTube in 6 months, I was making more money or the same amount of money, then more money on my YouTube channel. So in 2019, I walked away from my job and I never looked back. And here we are 7 years later. And at this point, I've had every high rise you could think of in LA. I have a Corvette. I've done it. I've made more money in my entire life than I've ever made working for a job. I've lived one of the best lives I've ever lived in my entire life, but it wasn't easy because in 2021, before I even moved to LA, I thought I had figured it out. I was on YouTube. I was doing good. I was making money, but I wanted to get a bigger apartment. And guess what? Knock, knock, you applied. Not approved. What? Not approved. Well, why not? I've been there. Well, you have a record. I flew all the way to Houston to try to get that expunge. I got the receipts. I mean, I had everything showing that I successfully completed everything. Everything was supposed to be off my record. It was a deferred, like I had everything from the courts. It was a black lady too. She was so mean and nasty. She was just like, no, we're leaving it on your record. We're leaving it on your record. Like there's nothing we can do. You're pretty much and I remember crying so bad. And I called my mom because I rented a little Mustang because I was riding around Houston. I called my mom and I told her, I want to kill myself. I want to myself. I'm over this. I've done everything. And you mean to tell me that this shit is still going to be lingering over my head? My mama said, you stupid don't you ever talk like that, you stupid as if that was going to help me, but it woke me up. Because she got scared, so then she got mad. When my mom gets scared, she gets mad. So she starts cursing you out. You stupid you a weak ass. You a weak you a weak ass. Get and I'm like, okay. Now I'm irritated. I'm like, girl, I'm over here supposed to be upset and sad. Now you upset and sad. Like, this is my moment, not yours. So I had to snap out of it because now I'm getting cursed out. That wasn't the response I was looking for. So anyway, so boom. I said, we're going to rework this and we're going to redo this. Tried to let it sit. I had to let it rock. I had to keep working. To sit in my apartment another year and let it fall off. And eventually, everything got cleared up. Then it was time for me to make the transition to Los Angeles. Since then, I've been able to host talk shows. I've rubbed elbows with celebrities like Kanye West, Diddy. I built a whole brand for myself, written books, had #1 selling EPs, living the life that I never thought I could live, but I literally dreamed of. And I worked hard after coming from all of those setbacks. And here I am now, even rebuilding again. So if I can rebuild, so can you. Here's how you start. You have to accept where you are. That is the first step. The first step to rebuilding is literally acceptance. Stop beating yourself about where you were or where you think you should be. You're not behind. You're just in a different chapter. When I stopped focusing on what I lost and started focusing on what I could do with what I had, everything changed. Once I realized this is where I'm at and we're gonna make this work, because guess what? I'm already so far at the bottom, all I can go is up. And you know what? Sometimes being at the bottom ain't that bad because you ain't got shit to lose. And so I started to build. And the way that you do that is through accepting where you are, not feeling sorry for yourself, and having people around you that motivate you. My mom really motivated me. She pushed me. I talked to her all the time. I didn't talk to a lot of friends that didn't motivate me. I accepted the reality that I had hit rock bottom. I had the funeral. I cried about it, and it was what it was. Write down where you are right now and write down where you want to go. A lot of you guys are on jobs that you hate. But I'll tell you this, I kept that job that I hated. I kept that job that I hated for a long time until I got about that job because it was a good job. That's one of the most important steps. If you are on a job right now and you want another job, or you want to get out of a job and work for yourself or do something different, stay on that job that you hate. Stay on that job that you hate, because 9 times out of 10, it's probably a decent job, a good job. You just don't like it. But if it pays you well, stay on that job, because that job is going to fund your next gig, your next career. See, a lot of people get it messed up because they want to just quit. Well, no, if you got a good job, that's important because it helps you build your foundation. You need a foundation. So accept where you are, get people that around you that's going to motivate you, and then start working on your foundation. Some of you guys already have something that gives you a foundation, and it's a decent job. That job can help pay for equipment. That job can help pay for, gas to get to interviews. That job can help pay for clothing. That job can help pay for food, pays your rent. Whatever it is that helps you get to your day-to-day, that job does that. So you don't have to stress, because you can't get to the next level. You can't dig yourself out of a hellhole. You can't come up if you're already stressed all the time. So that job that you hate, yes, you might not like it for the 8 hours that you're there, but when you get that paycheck, you're able to alleviate some of the stress that you have because you can pay your bills. You have money, you have currency. A lot of people think, oh my God, I hate my job, I hate my job, I hate my life. I'm just gonna quit my job. No, you stay on that job that you hate. Stay on the job that you hate until you work yourself out of that job that you hate. See, a lot of problems are, a lot of people hate their job, but they don't hate their job enough to work themselves out of their job. See, you have to hate your job so much that you work your way out of it. If you haven't worked your way out of it, you don't hate it that much. You don't hate your job and then quit. You hate your job and work out of it. And how you work out of it is you do your 8 hours, and then you come home and you do eight more hours on your own business. Or you do your 8 hours at your job, and while you're sitting at home and you're thinking about all the jobs that you could be applying to, and while you're trying to apply in the middle of doing whatever else you're doing, while you're scrolling on Indeed all day, but then on lunch, you get on the phone or you go take a nap, or then when you get off of work, you totally forget about all the jobs that you was looking at earlier. Yeah, you supposed to get off of work and then go actually apply to those jobs. You supposed to get off of work, go to lunch, and then do some follow-up calls on the applications or on the interviews that you went on. But see, a lot of times people hate their job while they doing it. Then when they get off, they're like, okay, that was cool, until the next day. So you don't hate your job enough because you're not working your way out of it. So once you accept where you are, it's time to get strategic. Rebuilding your life isn't about making one big leap. It's about making small intentional steps every single day. Identify one small achievable goal for this week, whether it's updating your resume, budgeting, or reaching out to a mentor. Break down a long-term goal into weekly or monthly actions. For me, it was starting with a retail job and saving every dollar I had. That first step gave me the foundation to build my brand. This is why I never quit my job. Number 3, you got to invest in yourself. Rebuilding isn't just about external success. It's about becoming the person you need to be to sustain the success. This means invest in your skills, your mindset, and your health. Learn something new, take a class, read books, develop a skill that aligns with your goals. Take care of your health. Good sleep, a balanced diet, and exercise are essential for clarity and energy. Build your confidence. Start small. Keep promises to yourself, because confidence comes for the promises that we keep to ourselves in private. Build your support system. You can't build your life alone. Surrounding yourself with people who inspire you and challenge you are very important. For me, I was listening to my mom's advice when I didn't want to hear it, and connecting with coworkers who told me about better opportunities. Seek out mentors, supportive friends, or communities to align with. For me, T.S. Madison was a big role for me. She mentored me a lot. She gave me a lot of good advice through that whole transition. You have to stay consistent. Rebuilding takes time, and there will be setbacks along the way. You might feel like you're not moving fast enough, and I go through that all the time. But remember, every small step forward is still progress. Consistency beats perfection every time. There was times that I wanted to quit, but I remember to myself that I wasn't just rebuilding for today. I was building for the life I could be proud of for years to come.